Yes, hello there. I'm Carl, and today I'm going to show you how my Translate MyBB Excel Assistant functions. This little tool assists with translating the PHP documents that are within the language pack that comes with MyBB. I'm sure this tool could actually be used for more than that, but that's a subject for another day. Um, yeah, to start off with, this is the control panel. Right now, I actually have a bunch of sheets here that I'm going to delete for this tutorial. To do that, I can use this section right here. If I only want to delete the sheets, I can click this, only queries, this, or connections, but most of the time, you always just need to press all. So I'll click all, and then I get some pop-ups telling me that we deleted the connections and sheets. Now all my connections and sheets are gone, and this is a fresh workbook, so be very careful pushing this button because it will delete everything in this book. It won't delete the files though. So right now, basically I have the workbook fresh like it should be when you download it first. First thing we need is to go and open the directory. And this is a typical, these three the items are in the zip. This one is easy enough just to open and edit manually. But you'll get an English. Oh, right, I renamed that to Icelandic, but you know it'll be called English. Here's the English files, and what I like to do is keep the English files in its original directory and just copy paste it and rename it to my language, which is Icelandic. Now that I have a folder of files that I'm ready to translate, I can select this directory in my Excel sheet. The admin folder, that's right here, that's a subfolder. I will not be choosing that. I'll show you how that works in Excel. That's this one right here. I can choose yes or no, and that'll include the admin. If I press yes, refresh, and now I have here 104 files, including a lot of the admin files. I'll just take no for now and refresh, and now I only have 47 files, which is the files that the customers or users of the website see. Now that they're imported here into the file list, it really didn't do anything. There's no extra sheets, and I need to import all of these files, one into each sheet. I do that by selecting a range or ranges and pressing this import selection button. Be careful when you're doing this. This does take some work. So if you're using a 32-bit version of Excel, I would definitely just not do 10 at a time or so. Just try it out, see what happens with your computer. But yeah, it's easy enough just to do 10, press import, and then select the next 10 and press import again. Only need to do that four times or so to finish all of them, and then you'll have sheets for each file. Sometimes Excel starts acting a little slow after importing a lot of files for the first time, and then basically if you just shut down Excel and reopen it, that'll all be gone. It'll start being normal again. So let's see, is there something else to tell you about here? No, I'll just go ahead and load in some files. I'll just take the first 10 files here and press import. This process takes about a minute for about 10 files, but I'm sure that can be different with different hardware. But it's doing a lot of stuff, creating queries and columns and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's nothing unusual if it's taking a little extra time. Here we are, imported 10 files. So now you see there's a whole bunch of sheets down here. I'll just open the first one, announcements. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit to show you the full thing. So this is the entire translating document. To go through the columns, the first column is just exactly like the PHP file. Then we have a set of columns here, stripped sample, and another set full sample and full translate. The area that we're supposed to edit is the green sections. If it's solid green like this, it should be like the area next to it. The stripped sample is much simpler to translate because it doesn't have the entire code. Actually, on this page, we only have the author section here at the top, so there is really nothing to do with this section. And to simplify working in this document, you can hide. I put a bunch of buttons here. Let's see, hide full, and that'll just hide these two columns, E and F, to make it a little bit smaller. If I'd like to translate forum announcement, I can write here. No, basically, why don't I just show you how we do that with Google Translate here. I can select this area and copy, open my Google Translate, paste it in here, choose my language, and copy back. When I'm back in the document, I just paste the values, and now I've basically, got a good start with translating this document. I'll have to go through each one of these and make sure it looks good. If it's red text here, that means that it is been changed from this version. Or basically, also if I would write the file, because I can now write this text into the document. Well, maybe I'll just show you that. But you can see how this is red text now, and that just means that this has been changed. If I remove this, it goes back to black. It says the result is the same as the current file contents. So I'll just write this translation to the file, and I do that by clicking this button, wrote translation. It's still red, still the same. That's because the file contents hasn't been refreshed. When I refresh this, then this file contents will be the same like this result, so that the font will not be red any longer. To refresh, I just press reload file, like so. Finished. And I guess my columns got a little resized there. And you can tell that this text is gone. Now I don't need this here any longer because it's already in the original file, my change. So I can actually remove this for further editing. For example, if I'd like to change this, now I've just changed this one again, and I can write the translation one more time and reload the file. I see something's going on with my reload file. I'll have to fix that. For now, I'll work on another document to finish this tutorial. Basically, when I pressed reload file, my column sizes were getting auto-fitted incorrectly. I'll make sure that's fixed as soon as possible. So now what's basically next to show, right? I'm going to try to search for some document with some HTML coding because Google likes to mess that up. In one of these has it. Here we have a good one. All of this stuff has bracket or break, some HTML. I'll take this and I'll copy it to my Google Translate. Remove the old text and paste in the new. And copy that. Back in my Excel sheet, when I paste it, you'll notice that well, it actually came out correctly now for some crazy reason. Well, let's see here. Well, for example, here's a space between, which should not be on this side. Yeah. So in order to fix these little things, problems that we come with Google Translate. Also, Google Translate likes to, use the wrong word. And if it's using the wrong word, it'll probably use it wrong every time. So it's convenient to find and replace those types of words, and also this HTML um, formatting that needs to be fixed. To do that, I have in the control panel a table. This table should be edited by you. So I haven't actually fully tested all of this. It's been working okay, but I haven't fully tested. I would not advise people to use this unless they have are sure with what they're doing, and they can test it. But yeah, this will probably get better as I translate more. Right now, this is working okay for me. But here I have, take this, and if you find exactly this, including this little space here in the end and space in the beginning, if it finds that, replace it with this, with no space in the front and no space in the end. If there is no space in the front or the end, it'll just skip it. So you have to copy this one and do it many times, with space in the front and space in the back. But anyway, for now, this is here, and let's hope that's the one that we found here. To replace just a single cell, I can do find and replace cell, and it'll go through the whole list and check if it can fix something in this cell. I can do this button, and then it'll just take the whole sheet. Before it does find and replace, what it does is copy this column here and paste the values in here so that we can see afterwards if something did get changed. So I'm going to go ahead and do the whole sheet. And now that's finished. When I go over here, now we can see if something did get changed. This one got changed, this one got changed, and this one got changed. Here's what it was before, and here's what it is now. I can take a look and see if there's something. No, sorry, not before. This is what it is after the find and replace, right? And this is what it was before find and replace. So if I see some issues, I can go ahead and fix those issues just by editing this again. I can tell that the space got removed here and here. Oh, it might have just actually been, and these two cells didn't get edited because there was none of that coding. I'm gonna quickly look over this to see if I see something. Yeah, I can see, for example, here's a space right here. So perhaps I need to add some items to my list to get rid of those spaces. Let me see what else I can show you here. So that's I've gone over the right translation to the file, reload the file. Show all is just showing all the columns. Hide stripped, that would just hide these two columns. Hide full hides these two columns. Let's make this smaller again. And I'll just go ahead and do that. Hide stripped, hide full. And this way we can see the file contents and the result right now, which is very useful to do before you write the translation. Especially if you've been running a find and replace, have a couple of yeses. You can, of course, just simplify your work by including only the yeses if you just run a file and replace like this. There's a filter on top of each column to be able to filter out if you have a lot of rows. The date will be here of the last find and replace, the last time you run it. But if I were to run it again on this cell, only on the cell, I see that I'm missing the text here. If I were to do this, this would change to the time right now. And it automatically went to no, because now this got changed again into what the result was, but there was no change. So you will lose the information basically being stored here if you run the find and replace many times without error checking between. I guess that's the gist of my show here on the work on each worksheet. You can feel free to add columns here in the end and make your own formulas. If you figure out some clever solution that'll assist you, it's no problem. You could even change the formula here in the result column to equal one of the results, one of the other columns that you would create. That way you can, maybe make my formula better. This is a pretty simple formula that's in here. It basically just replaces the text that it finds in here with, no, replaces this text that's found in here with this text. This can be a problem if you have just like one word in here, login, and in here we have login data. So it would just take the translated word here, login, and put it in right here in the front, which would not be very good. So like I say, it is important to go through this and make sure that you don't see mistakes like that. You can't just copy paste to Google and back in and think you're done. Each line needs to be reviewed and made sure that nothing crazy is going on. Of course, opening it in Notepad++ would be a useful thing also afterwards. If you see any non-gray lines, those will cause errors after they've been uploaded. But yeah, I think this is basically all of it, right? Hide sample will just hide this column and this column so that you only have your translation columns. I'll show that right here. That way you could just be looking at this and translate into here or here. Right now I haven't really gone over the full translate. We haven't seen any of those yet. There must be a column here with, must be some full translate sheets here. Well, here's an example, but unfortunately it's not, it doesn't really matter because it's just a comment. But some of these files, yeah, I guess none of the ones that I imported. Well, that's good because the full translate, basically, if there is something in the full translate sample here, oh, here we are, perfect. That's one. Right, but this is all commented out, so also doesn't matter here. I'll hide the sample. I'll hide the stripped, and now I can see. If I were going to translate this, basically, I would need to translate this entire thing into here. The stripped strips away everything that's not within the quotation marks, so that makes it much easier. But the full just takes the entire line because there was some issue, like here, there's some star here it didn't recognize. So that would have to be translated right here, and then exactly the way this is, just basically done like you would do in the PHP file. I guess I can go over the control panel a little bit. If you want to write the author, here you have an author section, you write your own text here, and then to write it to all the files, you click this. And now the author section has been put in, should have been, right, it's here. It's been put into the green section here. So the result has changed, red font, and I can write the translation, and that's in the file. Right now it's only in my translating sheet. If I would like to, now that I put this into all the sheets and I would like to write it into all of my sheets, I can take the sheets that I've already imported like this and write to selected files, and that'll basically save. It's the same thing as clicking this button, but does with the selected sheets. Wrote to 9 files. It's already been saved. Same thing with the find and replace selection. Basically, if you find a new word you don't want to change, you can just select the sheets like this and find and replace selection, and that'll run through well, look at this. I selected a sheet here that I didn't import, so it gives me an error. I'll do that again since I only have 10 sheets imported, but I selected 12 here by accident. So that's how you can basically bulk do stuff here in the file manager, but you've got to be, of course, careful not to do any, yeah, got to be careful with using this because you are editing all of your files at once. Make sure that they're all correct. And it's a good idea to take backups of your folders. There's no backup system here. This just works directly on the file. So if you would like to back up your directory, you would just have to open up your file manager and, copy paste your folder, and then that'll be your backup of all the files that you did. And you have a date stamp usually if you do copy paste. Well, I think that completes this tutorial. I'm not seeing anything else to really tell you about. Well, I added a little button here, go to selected sheet. So if I select the sheet I want to work on this, I can click this button and go there. That's pretty simple. I should actually create a button to go back as well. It's on my to-do list. Reload selection, right, I hadn't done that. Basically, same thing like pressing reload here. That reloads the file, if you've written the translation to it. Like right now I haven't reloaded this file. It still has this English back. Well, actually I probably didn't. Well, let's try. There goes my column change. I'll have to fix that, but now I have this in here. In the control panel, I can do the same thing by selecting many files and press reload selection. I selected it again, way too many sheets. It's not a good idea to do that. You should select the sheets that you actually want to reload. Yeah, don't think I have anything more to say about this. I hope this becomes useful for people, and if you want to edit, you can do that without any issues. It's all open in the VPA code is all open source. Feel free to improve and make it better, and please post what you make better back on the thread here. You'll find the discussion forum on MyBB right here. Thanks for watching.